Okay, so this is Wipeout Phantom Edition. It's a superb remaster of the PlayStation 1 classic game, which uses data from the PS1 image along with portions of the PC version. So this version includes new particle effects that they look amazing. That's the first thing you notice. Widescreen support, although apparently not in the menus. And there is an optional 320 by 240 graphics mode. This version has an uncapped frame rate and it just runs butter smooth. Increased draw distance and graphical blend-in effects that hide the pop-up of distant objects. So if you play these older racing games, some of them are really bad for this. If you play older racing games, you'll notice this visual pop-up where it looks like track objects just randomly appear into view, and sometimes it even looks like the track itself is being built as you drive around it. But yeah, with the increased draw distance and the blend-in effects, it works really well here to kind of hide that, and it does a really good job. When you go back to the original version and play it on emulation or on a PlayStation, it's really noticeable. It's actually kind of distracting. It gets better with WipeoutXL and a little bit with Wipeout 3, but it's quite bad in these older games. This version also has accurate PS1 era rasterization and blending, and the icing on the cake of all of this is the option of 3 collision modes. So I remember renting this game once or twice, and I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest, back in the day. I remember wanting to like it really bad because I really did like the concept and the visuals and the soundtrack. But I think maybe I felt that the game was fell a little short, and it was a tad undercooked. It fell into this weird spot of being kind of difficult, yet somehow at the same time kind of slow. And the difficulty was mainly due to this punishing wall collision, the wall collision physics, which they basically lose all your speed and momentum, and you kind of expect in a racing game you don't want there to be no consequences for making mistakes, but it was a little too extreme. So even though your ship in the default or beginner mode isn't really that fast, it's just tough to tell how close your ship is to the wall. And in an activity racing where you're trying to find the limits of the track, this game punished you really hard for doing that. Sometimes you'd even get a collision when your craft looked like it was moving entirely away from the wall. So this was improved in WipeoutXL, which made it more accessible. I actually fell in love with WipeoutXL. It became one of my favorite PS1 games. I still play it on occasion. But Wipeout Phantom Edition now fixes this with 3 collision modes, so you're not even losing anything. You get the default Death mode, which is how the game was originally, and then Classic, which is much closer to Wipeout where a collision at too steep an angle will still cause a crash and stop you, but you can get a lot closer to the edges and the apexes and really push the track limits fairly while retaining enough challenge. Modern is essentially like BallisticNG, and it's the most forgiving and allows the most wall riding. So the beauty here is that you get to pick your poison and you're losing nothing. It's not taking anything away, it's just adding 2 new physics modes for the collisions. And just to touch briefly again on the visuals, I gotta say, this looks amazing on my flat screen. It runs smooth as butter. It's very responsive, I think more so than playing it on DuckStation. At least it felt to me like it was. They've took a 30-year-old game and made it better in every conceivable way, to the point where it's actually hard to play it on emulation now. There's no reason to, unless you want it to look worse and play worse. I still wouldn't put this ahead of XL for me or Wipeout 3, but for this particular game, it makes it basically everything I wished it had been when it came out. So as a Wipeout fan, I really appreciate it, and I just wanted to say that to whoever put this out. Now, this didn't just come out in the last 5 minutes, it's been out for a couple years. And as far as I know, the link is still working. I'll put the link in the description if you want to download this. I'm not going to explain here how to get it to work. It really wasn't that difficult. Just keep in mind that you do need a copy of the original US version of the game and the game files. Or you can use a US version ROM image, and that's what I did. Yeah, I'm the complete moron. I figured it out in 5 minutes, so chances are you probably can too. A full explanation is included in the link, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks.